out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's 1, 2, 3 cycle out and be all holding. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's 1, 2.
Folks, hello. It's Talkin Baseball.
Hi, everyone.
Coming to you from the Passio Studios again. I'm Pete Lincoln.
I'm Jason Smith. We are co-hosting Talking Baseball straight to your living room, wherever you may be in any of the, 10 states that we are airing in now?
We've been picked up in California.
Yes.
We're now a coastal broadcast.
West Coast can see us now. So
East and West.
we're 3 hours ahead of you, so you'll see this at 4 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock at your local state. That's not how it works.
No,
that's
that's
not
not
how it
how it
works. No.
And we'd like to thank Dan Seminator and Deb the Lincoln Truck
Yes.
for making us look good and combing our hair.
And combing our hair and providing us trivia questions. And my lovely wife, Gina, is here for the first time in the 75 episodes in the audience, who we always thank for dressing us, because we don't know how to dress ourselves.
And we're expecting rounds of wild applause.
Yes. So we have a special anniversary
right.
with today's show.
We miscounted. Last
Yes.
show we told you it was our 73rd show, but the truck went up and counted the actual numbers of tapes we have in our library, and there were 74 there already. So this is our 75th show.
75, everybody.
75 shows. Number
So,
75.
And has anyone out there seen all 75? Probably not, but
We have.
We have.
have.
We've been there for all of them.
75.
But yes, thank you everyone for watching and keeping us on the air. 75 episodes.
years. Here we go.
So here we
75.
go. We can make it dance a little bit.
As a special surprise, the truck has promised that we would have some special presentation at this point.
The truck is giving
truck
us.
is giving us-
Here we go. The truck is presenting us with some. Look at this. We now have our own bobbleheads. So these will be on the desk for every.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, Pete. How are you?
Pretty
All
good.
right. So these will be on the desk for every future show. And maybe they'll catch on the way Remdog and Don and Wally did.
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe these will fly off the shelves.
So we have our own bobbleheads
Yes.
now.
These are not for sale yet,
No.
but if you'd like some requests, it can be, because I think we can probably mass manufacture these.
Oh, the guy from Revere may be dealing with
Yeah,
us.
so Sully, I'm sure, can hook someone up. They'll fall off the truck with Sully. Trust me on that one. So, we can go pitch these on Shark Tank and get an investment in bobbleheads for us. So anyway, thank you for watching for all 75 episodes. Even if this is your first one, we appreciate you as an audience, and we hope the fun times continue.
And what we try to do is just bring up a lot of interesting things that have happened since we were last on, and make fun of some of them, or go into depth on some
Or
of them.
praise or damn some of them,
damn some
depending
of
on the issue.
And usually talk about things that have been somewhat unique.
Right.
And the first thing we want to show you is something happened in a game at Fenway Park about 3 weeks ago that had never happened at Fenway in 111 years. Imagine that.
That's you'd think that everything would have happened by now, but this never had, incredibly. So
Check out
here
this
you go.
video.
Enjoy this.
That's a shot out to left. Yoshida back. Racing can't get. Here comes the run.
Oh,
The
it's
ball's
stuck in the
stuck in
light.
there. It's stuck inside the light.
That was huge.
He couldn't find it. Look at this, busting the light. And he thought it had bounced back, and it's stuck inside the wall, and
That
they're going to
saved-
send a runner back.
That saved a run.
Did.
Now, imagine you're Yoshida, and the ball goes over your head. What happens?
And it vanishes. He should have caught it.
Right.
So when he didn't, he was kind of chagrined, and he was looking in behind the wall, in front of the wall, in his pants, where the hell's the ball?
And it's in the light.
And finally, the announcers didn't know either.
No, nobody knew.
They could
Nobody
hear.
knew.
They had no idea where the
And
ball
eventually he
went.
reaches in and
Reaches in and pulls the ball, and one thing didn't cut himself.
Right.
It actually broke through the glass and landed in the little hole that holds the light.
Yeah,
Pulled the ball out. And what happened, fortunately, it turned into a ground rule
right,
double.
right. It's two bases,
And it
right?
kept a run from scoring.
Yeah, it did.
So by smashing through the wall, it saved us a
It
run.
saved a run, temporarily anyway. But wouldn't you think that at some point, with how long those lights have been out there, that a ball would have hit the
Batting
light
practice,
at
anything.
any time? It's never happened
It's
before.
very thick glass.
Right.
It's not plastic. It's
Right.
thick glass.
And,
Because we walked by it and tapped on it a few
Oh,
times.
right, yeah. It's not cheap stuff, but it must have hit it just right, and maybe the heat kind of from being on compromised.
Just
who
the
knows?
right angle as
Just-
it came down.
So that and we always say you never know what you're going to see at the ballpark, folks. That's the first in 111 years right there. That's
It won't
history.
happen again until 2134.
I'll
That's
be
111 years.
I'll be long gone by then.
So what?
But maybe the show will be in its 7,000th episode by then. Who knows? We'll pass it on to future generations.
The other thing that happened was there had been 2 no-hitters since we did our last ones.
Right.
And I checked it out. You know how many no-hitters there have been in the major leagues? 322.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Average
Yeah,
of
right.
3 a season.
Right. Yep.
Average of 3 a season.
And the thing is, you don't have to be a good pitcher particularly to get a no-hitter. Some of them are total flukes. A lot of nobodies. Like, okay, Clemens never had one in his career, but Pedro never had one. But
Randy Johnson never
right,
did.
look at the list of names who did, and it's a lot of it is chance and good fortune.
So just quickly, these are the 2 that happened. On the 1st of August, Framber Valdez pitched a no-hitter.
Who is currently shutting down the Red
currently
Sox
shutting down
as we're filming the show.
He pitched a Maddox no-hitter, meaning 93 pitches.
Right.
And it's the first lefty Astro ever to pitch a no-hitter.
He is, and I think he only had 1 walk. I think he was 1 walk from a perfect game.
It was erased in a
right.
double play, so
Right.
he faced 27 batters.
Right.
And his previous 3 starts, he had a 9 ERA.
Right. You never know,
Go
folks.
figure.
You never know.
And then the second one was by Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah.
There's another household name.
Right.
Michael Lorenzen for the Phillies over Washington, and they had just picked him up from the Tigers.
It was his first home start with the Phillies, and he pitches a no-hitter at his first home start. So.
It's the 5th time there's been a no-hitter in history by the first start for a team, and the first since 1960.
Is it really? Since 1960?
1960,
Wow.
first time it's ever
And if
happened.
anyone was up late last night like I was, there was a near no-hitter last night. Alex Cobb had a no-hitter with 2 outs in the 9th, and he gave up a double with 1 out to go in the game. He missed by 1 out. 131 pitch complete game. You don't see that often anymore at all.
I remember one that was pitched in the Mets by, remember, it was almost the end of a season. He came from the Twins over to the Mets.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
Okay.
No, I don't
Well,
remember, actually.
We can cut that.
We'll cut that part out. We don't remember everything here, folks. But we have talked about, the Mike Messina 2 outs in the 9th, losing a perfect game at Fenway. I think, didn't Dave Steve do that 2 starts in a row? I think 2 starts in a row he lost a no-hitter with
And
1
his
out to go.
teammates were glad.
Yes.
They didn't like Mr.
No,
Steve.
no, Dave Steve was not a friendly guy.
Not popular with his team,
No.
anyway.
But that's history in the making right there. And it's funny. And we also had history a couple days ago, bad history. Jose Altuve hit for the cycle at
right.
Fenway a couple days ago. He needed a home run in his last at bat, and he did it. He crushed one. So sort of negative history, but history nonetheless.
And it's one of the reasons why I like baseball over all other sports. He's 5'8".
Yes, right.
He couldn't work. He couldn't get into the Air Force.
Right.
He probably couldn't work in the post office.
No,
he's 5'8". He's
5'8",
He
and he hit
certainly couldn't play pro football.
or basketball. Probably not. But
a guy that size, he was Petey's size.
Yeah,
is able to. Now he's hitting about 320.
He is, and killing the Sox like he does every year. So the history, negative history at Fenway, but it's still history.
Okay, the next thing that happened was the trade deadline passed. They moved the trade deadline up from the 1st of September to the 1st of August, so the teams wouldn't just throw everybody away that were out of it, to try to, by adding the extra playoff spot.
Right.
And it's always so hyped.
Oh,
They talk about it and
if
write
you-
stories about it for weeks, and people write in, we want to trade Schreiber for Trout.
Yeah, yeah. And the fans always come up with these outlandish trades. Let's get Trout and Ohtani in exchange for Brock Holt. You know, some of the trades are supposed to benefit both teams, people, not just the one you root for. Okay.
So they always say, everybody we don't want on our team, don't trade
just
for somebody
don't trade it for
really
somebody
good.
Somebody good. And it's always MLB Network for like a week going into the trade deadline has all these shows, and this guy could go here. And it seems like every year it just turns into a lot of hype for not much stuff
And
happening.
the last day, it's live broadcasting for hours.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And they're always on the phones. We're talking to Peter Gammons now.
Right. Who do you see going where? Who do you see going where? And you know what the thing is? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
And this year, nobody went.
Nobody. The only thing that happened is the Johan Santana. We've been informed is the no.
Of
Yes,
course,
remember
yes.
that he went from the Twins to the Mets and he threw about 140 pitch no hitter, and I think he killed his
done.
career.
Done
He
his
was done
career.
after that.
But they
Thank
had
you.
their only no-hitter.
It was their only no hitter. Yes. So anyway, back to the lecture at hand, as Snoop Dogg would say.
The only thing that did happen was the Mets took their entire team apart.
Yes, the Mets sent Verlander and Scherzer and anyone else.
They just got rid of
And they
everybody.
just said Scherzer went to Texas and Verlander went back to the Astros.
And beat us.
And at the end, Houston fans celebrate for having Verlander's wife back in the Houston area. So
The Mets since 1986 have bought all kinds of stars and just haven't won.
they haven't won. They
I
had a
call it
terrible
the
year.
curse of Bill Buckner.
Yeah, the Bill Buckner
Buckner
cursed him
curse.
back. So, but what's funny is that this sort of had an unintentional thing happen afterwards. Is that a couple days ago, the Angels just put half their team on waivers because the Angels made a couple trades and they said, well, they went 7-17 after the trade deadline, so it doesn't always work going for it, folks. And they just put about 7 guys on waivers and just said, hell with it, we're just done, so anybody can have these guys. They just cleaned house off the team. The Yankees did it with 2 guys, too, Donaldson and
That's
Bader.
right,
Donaldson and Bader.
And of course, we got rid of Kike,
Yeah.
who had been a superstar for us, but this year they put him at shortstop.
And
That was a bad
that was
mistake.
not a good idea. Not a good idea. But it's so, really, when you really think about it, how many times has one guy really put a team over the top? It doesn't happen very often. It really does. Maybe like, with the Johnson and Sabathia are the only
I'll
two I can
take
really think of.
Ortiz.
Well, was he trade deadline though?
No, you mean the gut of the trade?
Yeah, trade deadline guy.
Oh.
Other than Johnson and Sabathia, I can't think of one player who put someone over the top at a trade deadline. It's really, really rare that happens.
Picking up Elston Howard, I think, did back
That was
then.
a good, yes, that was good.
That was
yes.
good because they had no catching in '67.
Right,
But
right.
nobody out there remembers that.
I only know it through the statistics books.
As I told you when you were a little boy.
Yes. And you know what they'd say nowadays? Oh, he's a Yankee. We don't want him. Well, forget that.
So the Sox got a couple players back
Yeah.
that they had expected were going to make the difference. Story and Sale.
They haven't.
So far, the Story has been no Sale.
No, nothing.
They haven't made much difference. In fact, they haven't played as well since they've gotten them back.
No, they haven't. No, and Whitlock and Houck came back too, and they were sort of depending on these 4 guys to come in and corral the team, and it just hasn't happened. But
Well, they
we'll
brought
go
Story
there.
back and DFA'd Yu Chang.
You're right.
And Yu Chang and Story hit about the same average.
Yeah,
so
they
far.
pretty much do. Yeah. And they're just as good on defense too. Great defense, no bats.
Right. And Sale's first start, he struck out, I think, 7 Yankees and first 14 guys down.
Yeah, and
So he had a great start, but since then
he's been very mediocre since
right.
then.
So it hasn't made that much
Kind of
difference.
sad to see, but we'll.
The
we'll
other
see what
thing,
happens.
the other thing that's sad is Jaron Duran is done for the season.
He is. It's like a Mike Judge injury. I mean, it's like a Judge injury. It's the same thing where he ran into the wall and hurt his toe, and he's out for the year.
And he's the kind of player, even if they're not doing well, you pay to go see.
Oh, absolutely.
I love to watch a fast guy.
Absolutely, 100%. So, well, that's why I'm happy they brought up Raphael a couple days ago. A fast guy is exciting.
Can he get on base?
He got a hit yesterday. I don't know about today.
No, he struck out the first.
He struck out the first time. That's right. So, and something else that's really not good for the sport that happened is sadly Shohei Ohtani, who's been the greatest two-way player since Babe Ruth, injured his UCL and won't pitch for the rest of the year and may not for quite some time.
Yeah,
May not
possibly
for quite
never.
some time.
Never.
It's
Which was extraordinary. He was leading the league in home runs and strikeouts.
Right? So, and again, if there's anyone who you're going to pay money to see, it's Ohtani.
That's right.
And the Angels decided not to trade him. They hung on to him, and it was about a week after the deadline that he injured his UCL and may never pitch it. Now, does that affect your hitting? I mean, I'm not a
Apparently
sports
not,
medicine,
because he's been
so-
hitting well,
Right.
but he has to DH.
Right, yeah, he
so
can
that
only
clogs the DH spot.
Yep.
Because when he
And-
was
yeah.
pitching, someone else could DH.
Right, and he's due to be a free agent this year, and he just cost himself millions of dollars by
Well,
that.
more than millions.
Yeah.
2 or 3 stadiums.
Yeah,
A couple yachts, a couple places in Newport.
he could have bought a couple teams for that money.
He
I
bought
think.
China.
So yeah, everyone was hyping Ohtani would be the first $500 million
right.
player,
That's
and
right.
We'll see. Maybe somebody will still pay
And
that.
if his
but
prices come down, maybe they'll keep him.
Who
But
knows?
they have the 2 superstars. Trout's had a terrible year because he
Yeah,
was hurt.
right.
And it just goes to show, folks, your season and your career can end like that.
Yep,
that.
absolutely. And that's why we never begrudge guys for taking the money because you never know when your career could
Prime
end.
example of that was Tony Canigliaro.
Absolutely.
Who came up as, he was my first hero. And he hit the first one ever to hit, youngest one ever to hit 100 home runs.
Right.
And he gets hit in the face, and he gets disabled, and his career ends. And that's the end of him.
Yep. And so,
So you never know.
yep. What?
And guys that go on like Stan Musial or Henderson are just very unusual.
Oh no, that's the
They don't
rarity.
get
That's
hurt.
the rarity. Yeah, it's so it's pretty sad. Something that's not ideal for a sport that's really trying to get younger viewers involved. That's really that's a sad scenario.
Well, we'll be back in just a minute after this word from our sponsor. Red Sox fans, every time the Red Sox have played the Yankees this season, did you find yourself frustrated and angry having to search for what arcane TV channel the game might be on? Apparently, competing networks feel there is continuing national interest in 2 teams fighting it out all season for last place in their division. The game isn't on Nesson. Is it on Fox? Is it on Apple? Is it on Apple Plus? Damn, I can't get Apple Plus. Peacock? What the hell is that? Where's my ball game? Well, exciting news. Pasio's Pac Channel 9 has been negotiating with the Red Sox brass to obtain exclusive broadcast rights to all Red Sox Yankee games in 2024. That's right. New England will be subscribing to our own Pac channel to watch the Sox next year. And in addition, we have convinced Don Orsillo to rejoin the Sox as the announcer for these 4 Red Sox-Yankee series. And as a special surprise for Talkin baseball fans, Don will be joined in the booth by none other than our own Sully from Revere, provided Sully makes parole before the start of the season. Don and Sully will be a dynamic contrast in the booth to the jury Yukinobi. It won't matter if the Sox are getting their pants beaten off. Don and Sully's manic banter will keep you cringing with hysterics. Nuts to the game. So remember to subscribe soon to Pasio's Pac Channel 9. Tune in on June 24th, 2024 for the first Red Sox-Yankee meeting next season. And if you viewers look real closely, you'll notice my tongue stuck firmly in my cheek. Hi, we're back.
And we're back. I think.
I hope no one took that ad seriously. But it is a dream.
It is a
And
dream.
you never know.
Yes.
If we go syndicated, maybe we can do some negotiations.
I think that'd be. Yeah, I think so. I mean, not at the Ohtani level, but maybe something.
Just enough for a small boat.
Yeah, just a small boat. We could take it out on the Hickory Hills Lake or something like that. So,
Okay, so it's time for our trivia question.
Oh, hey, here we go, folks.
And again,
All
if you
right.
folks are new listeners, what we've been doing ever since we started was asking a trivia question, and we started asking it to our viewers. But since we're not on live, it was tough to get responses. So we changed it to Stump Jason. Jason is the Ken Jennings of baseball knowledge. So here's the question for this show. We talked a lot about Louis Arise possibly hitting 400 in the last time.
Not happening anymore,
And
folks.
as of now, he's hitting 350.
350.
Hitting 400 is an extraordinary feat.
Really is.
And Ted Williams in 1941 hit 406. So here's the trivia question.
Okay.
Since 1941, what player in a full season has come closest to 400 for a season?
I think I know that one.
For a season.
I think I know that one.
For a full season.
Okay.
Who's done it?
All right.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I know this one. All right.
Okay, tidbits.
So,
We got some
tidbits. Yes,
coming
we
up.
have some fun stuff here to share. Just, because, we sort of like to just bring up things, like we said, you never know what you're going to get at the park. And we like to bring up things that are just sort of unusual, that you wouldn't see before, or just sort of fun facts, as we call them, that you can share with your friends. So,
The first one still kills me. What's his first name? Urias. Luis Urias hit 2 grand slams on 2 consecutive pitches in 2 different, actually one game.
yes, there he is.
One game won it, and then 2 days later he hit another one in the first inning, or second inning, whatever.
Right, yep.
So on 2 consecutive pitches,
He hit a grand
slams.
And are those his only 2 homers with the Sox? I think
Yes.
they are.
I think all but one of his RBIs.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what happens to something like that? What lightning comes down
I
and
have,
strikes?
it's just the weird. It's just one of those weird quirks of baseball that everything.
Is there some karma? Did he eat something special for breakfast? Did he get some tip? Was the pitcher tipping his?
I have no idea.
It was
I
just
have no
all of
idea.
a sudden the number 9 hitter.
Number 9, yeah, he was number 9 twice. It Parks 2 straight
Parked
grand
2 straight
slams.
grand slams.
No, it sort of reminds me. Remember when he wasn't a home run hitter? Remember when Bill Miller did it twice in a game, 2 grand slams?
He did it in Texas.
Right.
Lefty
Right.
in the 7th inning and righty
Right.
in the 8th
He
inning.
did it one from
That's
each
never
side.
happened
Yeah,
before.
yeah, one from each side. Yeah, it's amazing.
There have been 2 grand slams in a game before.
But he
Nomar did it.
Yes. Yep.
And the one that, let's see.
Oh, I
there's
remember
one
Mark Whitten did it when
Mark
he had
Whitten
that
did it.
same game when he hit 2 grand
And
slams.
way back, Tony Cloninger did it
Oh,
as a pitcher,
yes.
for the Braves.
Yeah, that's right. Tony Cloninger.
Hit 2
yeah.
grand slams
Right.
as
Back
a
when pitchers hit,
when
folks.
pitchers hit.
And future pitching coach for the Sox too.
Yeah,
Remember,
that's right.
He was.
That's right.
Wasn't he? He was the Jimmy Williams pitching coach, wasn't he? I think during those years.
think so.
Yeah. So, 2 grand slams in a season is rare, let alone on 2 straight pitches.
You know,
So,
all I've started doing with this show is after we finish the show, I watch the games
Right.
and write down whatever extraordinary happened. And something happens every day.
every single day something.
Will Rogers used to say, I just read the newspaper and I get my show.
Yeah.
You know, I just talk about what happens.
As Brad Williams said, how do you come up with your material? 1, leave the house. 2, wait. That's what we do, folks. We just wait.
So
and
much stuff
comes to
happens.
us.
Now, this is one no one saw, and I wouldn't have known this if I just happened to cross it. In single A ball, a fellow named Ian Lewis stole 5 bases in a game and had no hits
How do you
and
do
only
that?
1 walk.
How do you do that?
He stole 5 bases, but he didn't get any hits. And they made a big deal about it because it's only happened once in the major leagues, and I'll get to that in a
Really?
second.
Did it really?
Happened once in the major
Really?
leagues. Yeah. But what he did was he reached on an error in the 2nd inning, stole 2nd, 3rd, and home. The next time up, he reached on another error and
Really?
stole 2nd.
Yeah.
And the 3rd time up, he walked
And stole 2nd.
And the last time up, he struck out.
You struck out.
So he was 0 for 3 with 5 steals.
That's how do you, that seems impossible, doesn't it?
Doesn't baseball lend itself to the greatest statistics?
It really does. That's like, wasn't there a guy who went 0 for 4, but he scored 4 runs one time or something like that? It's like, you wouldn't think it's possible, but it is.
One of my favorite was Gene Stevens in 1953, scored 3 runs in 1 inning.
Yes, right.
Scored 3
right,
runs in 1 inning.
Right? Or who was the, I forget his name. Who was the guy? Felix Milan, who hit 4 straight singles, and Joe Torre hit into 4 double plays right behind him. That's my all-time favorite right there. But again,
There's all kinds of great statistics.
this is why we love this sport.
Yesterday, the UPS guy came down and dropped me off something, and he said, "You're a baseball fan. Let's talk." And I said, after half an hour, "Don't you have the packages to deliver?" He came in and looked at my posters. And
Really?
And he said, "Oh, Pete Rose, you got Pete Rose giving the finger. What I get anything for that picture?" The people that are into baseball are into baseball.
Yeah, and it's really, they don't really follow any sort of demographic or anything. It's just sort of random folks who follow the game like we do. You never know. We've run into people before and they just accost me and start talking.
That's right.
Talking baseball.
You're a fan, right?
You're a fan. Okay. Let's chat. Okay.
And we're going to make this trade tomorrow.
Yes, right. What do you think of Kyle Bloom? That's always the first question they ask right now. What do you think of Bloom? And it turns into a half-an-hour dissertation back and forth. And it's funny that social media has brought a lot of that out too.
Yeah.
Social media with all these groups, and you can comment on Nesson and the Red Sox group and various groups, and it's just all this crisscross of not just local, like of the U.S. And people commented. Most of them are not very intelligent, but
the trouble is with the Facebook sites is that you mix knowledgeable people with clueless people.
Exactly.
And their dialogue is confusing.
Yeah, it is. Or they don't get it more insightful than Cora sucks. Well, that's insight. Can you elaborate on that for us, please? I mean,
Stop talking about his personal life.
Yeah, right. Great, insightful contribution that you're sharing with us.
So let me get back to the original question.
Yes.
Only one person in the major leagues ever stole 5 bases without a hit.
Really?
One guess. Who was it?
I know it.
One guess.
Ricky.
Ricky did it.
Yeah, it had to be Ricky, right? Yeah.
He walked 4 times.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Right. Yeah, it had to be
Ricky stole 5.
Yeah, right.
I'd say one guess.
Yeah. Right.
He's almost 600 steals ahead of number 2.
That's frightening, isn't it? I thought I read a stat that somebody could have a 20-year career and steal 70 bases a season and they still wouldn't catch him or something like that. It's an absurd number of stealing bases.
And you know something? If they had the rule they have now, he can only throw over twice.
Oh my God! Oh, he would
add another 400.
Every time he got on base, he would do it. Every time he got on, just
they throw over twice and then he steals.
And then he'd just go. Yeah.
I can remember many people just booing and I love the way when they throw to first base, people boo. Why do you boo?
It's the pitcher's job to keep the guy close. What do you do? Oh,
they throw to first, boo.
Boo. Let him steal. Boo. Really? And half the time, okay, you're going to throw over to keep Casas on. I don't think he's going to be stealing folks. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Didn't he get picked off, though, the other day?
I think he did get picked off, yeah. Right.
It was on a line drive.
Oh, yeah, that was right. Yeah, it was right at the first baseman. He'd get picked off on the spot, yes.
He had a 2-step lead and got picked off.
Hard to do, but it happened. So the other tidbit that really happened is when we hit the air last time, Alex Verdugo was sort of in the doghouse.
Oh, yes.
He'd been called out by Cora. He'd been benched. It was sort of there was a rumbling through Red Sox Nation that he'd actually be traded at the deadline.
Right.
There were rumors that he was going to get traded. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, he gets put back in the leadoff spot.
And he did something only 2, here we go again.
Yes,
only 2 people have ever done.
Yep.
He led off 3 consecutive games with a home run.
One of them was the first pitch.
Yes.
Remember that? One was the first pitch.
3 consecutive games. 1 was at Houston and 2 were against Brooklyn. Dodgers.
Dodgers, yeah, the Brooklyn, the LA Dodgers.
They used to be the
They used to bring Brooklyn way back
Did I say Brooklyn?
You said Brooklyn.
Wow.
Yes, the Dodgers were in Brooklyn at one point for all you younger viewers out there. Yeah, he did it once against the Astros and twice against the Dodgers. Didn't help him win the games much, but...
Deb, I need some water.
But that had only been done twice in history.
Twice in history. And it was done 4 times. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
4 times.
Oh, I know who did it 4 times.
Tell us who did it 4 times.
I know who did it. Former Red Sox, Brady Anderson.
For the Orioles. And led off 4 consecutive games of home run. The same year he hit 50
The ultimate
home
one-year
runs.
one-year wonder with home runs.
Do you think he was doing something
You
illegal
think
at
there
the time?
Think there was something being injected at that point in his career? You think? I don't know. Remember when he was a prospect with the Red Sox? He was like a speedy stolen base guy,
right.
and then he turned
And
into
a
a 50
good-
home
and a
run
good outfielder.
and a good outfielder,
Good fast
and,
outfielder,
and he
yeah.
turned into a 50 home run guy for 1 year, and then he just went back to.
But
God.
our family has this great memory of going to Baltimore when he
God,
was
yeah.
playing, and they were selling posters of Brady
Oh,
in a
God.
Speedo.
Oh, it was a black and white picture
Yes.
of him in his Speedo with the bat, flexing, of course.
Yes.
Completely rippled muscles like that. And we
And
just looked at it.
nothing odd but
and
that.
nothing. And I said, why is this for sale? I
What
have no idea.
demographic is he appealing to?
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know. I think you still have that in the closet somewhere, don't you?
No.
I'll have to go dig that out. Oh, I thought you'd frame it.
I came
Yeah.
out of the closet.
Yeah. I thought you. Brady Anderson, a name from the
And
past.
the other guy
right?
just did it 5 years ago, Acuna Jr.
Acuna, yeah, I was going to say, I knew Acuna did it 3 times.
What's
too.
with all the juniors all of a sudden?
You know what it is? We're getting older, and we can. I say all the time when we're watching games
No,
to
but
my wife. It's,
why are they saying their uniform junior?
I don't know.
When did that start?
I have no idea.
I don't remember anything like that before.
Did Jim Bagby Jr. have Junior on his? I don't remember him having Junior. Do you?
I don't know. There must have been juniors back then.
There must have been. I don't know, but
I wonder who was the first junior.
that's.
Audience.
Truck, help us
The
out.
truck.
Truck, help us out
Who
with
was
that.
the first junior to wear a
First
junior on his uniform?
But it's also because as I say all the time, we're watching the games. I'm getting older because I remember these guys' fathers playing, and now the juniors are all playing. So.
I don't want to say grandfathers, but I knew the three Boone
The 3
generations.
Boones, exactly. Yes, I know, right?
Well, in the 40s and 50s, the Red Sox had a player named Vern Stevens, whose nickname was Junior Stevens.
Right.
But I don't think he was Vern Jr.
I don't think he was either.
I think
don't
he was
remember
Junior
that.
because he was.
Small, maybe?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to-
Truck.
Truck.
There's
We'll have
number
to-
2. We
See-
get a lot of things we'll bring back
See,
next.
and this is how you know it's live TV, ladies and gentlemen. We don't plan this. We come up with our own trivia questions.
We have thoughts. We go back to Brooklyn occasionally.
Right. Right. So, all right. So now we are at our at the spot in the show that we call Fenway Memories, and
great.
these are things that we've been to a lot of games, and we see some pretty unusual things at games. And I'm going to use the recent one, which is the last game we attended.
Well, we like to share
Yeah.
what we've seen at Fenway. In fact, my wife and I have written a couple books, and there's chapters on some of these things because they're interesting to people. People say, what did you do when you were in Kansas City? Oh, that's
we
when
did
the
this.
Japanese team followed us around.
That's right.
Really?
Really? Wow.
Or the time we were in Baltimore and I caught a foul ball and the guy almost ripped my hand off trying to take it off.
Yes.
You
Right.
don't forget this
Right.
kind of
Or
stuff.
we see Clemens strike out 20
20
guys.
guys.
You never know.
Or Ortiz win the fourth game.
Right,
You know.
right.
So it's fun.
It's fun to
share
reminisce.
this.
Yeah, to
and
share this.
reminisce.
And it encourages people to go because you never know.
And I'll bet all of you out there have similar stories. to
Right,
tell.
exactly.
So these are ours for this show.
So we just attended a game on August 7th, which is about 3 weeks ago. And it was, I think it will be known as the Pablo Reyes game. Pablo Reyes was a one-man wrecking crew. And again, you never know what you're going to get at the park. Actually, the Royals, who are not doing well, but they had this guy, Cole Reagan, start, who was terrific. I think it's the best game that somebody pitched against the Sox all year. And the Sox was tied 2-2 forever. And then in the ninth, Pablo Reyes comes up with the bases loaded and 2 outs and crushes a grand slam off the foul pole. It was a Fisk shot.
Just
off
barely.
The pole.
Didn't they replay it?
Yes, it was just barely off the Fisk pole for a game-winning grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. Now, in that game, Pablo Reyes became the first player ever to have 3 hits, 3 runs, a stolen base, and a walk-off grand slam in the same game. So we saw history that had never happened before. And the Sox got 6 runs. He hit a grand slam, and he scored the other 2 runs that weren't in the grand slam. So it was the Pablo Reyes game.
You know, and we're supposed to beat the Royals.
Right.
And this was supposed to be the soft spot on our schedule.
Right.
And I remember all through the game saying, soft spot, give me a break.
Yeah,
We
the guy
can't
pitched a
beat
great
anybody."
game for the
And-
Royals.
And it looked like it was going to go into the 10th inning.
It did.
And you know how I feel about 10th inning.
Oh,
rounds.
yeah, right, I know. So, and as a bonus, on the way out, we were up in the pavilion, and you have to take an elevator to get to, well, you don't have to, but we do because, we're lazy. We don't want to walk. And to get in the elevator, and standing right there is Nesson's own Dave O'Brien. There I am with him, and we started shooting the breeze in the elevator on the way down. And I said, "Do you mind if I pose for a picture?" He said, "Oh, absolutely not." So there we are on the runway from the elevator to the exit of Fenway Park.
And if you look carefully, Sully from Revere is replacing Dave next season during our Yankee game.
Sully will be in his spot.
There's Sully right there in his incognito disguise.
And in fact, somebody else had noticed who he was and posed for pictures. So where are you going now? He said, "I'm going to drive through Burger King and drive home." So I guess that's his ritual after the game. But it was really cool to, because the announcers, you recognize their voices, but you don't always know what they look like unless you're watching the pregame or they cut to them in the
With
booth or
2
something.
exceptions,
Yeah.
Jerry and Don.
Jerry and Don, yes. You always knew what they looked like.
We met Jerry 3 or 4 times.
Yes, so that's our Fenway memory from just 3 weeks ago, very recent one.
Well, I got one a little further back. We've never talked about the writers' dinner. The writers have a dinner in January at a very posh place down in the fishing district at a fancy hotel.
Oh, the Seaport
The
District?
Seaport
Yes,
District.
yep.
And they all get dressed up in tuxes and give awards out. Awards to ball players on other teams, and to themselves.
Right.
Writers giving
Right. Of course.
And since we became good friends with Gordon Eads, who attended the writers' dinner, he invited us twice to go along with him. And so we did. And we got all dressed up and went to the 2006 writers' dinner. And there's lots of ball players there roaming around the corridors. And we ran into 2. And this picture will show Debbie posed with Jim Lomborg
Look at
and
that.
Rico Petrocelli.
Jim and Rico.
Earlier, I think in this series, we showed you a picture of Lomborg and Debbie and Dick Raditz many years ago, and she was speechless standing next to Jim Lomborg. She was able to speak this time.
Right.
I asked her if she could take a picture.
The luster had worn
It was
off.
very pleasant. She even asked him if he would drill her teeth, but I guess he had retired.
Yeah, yes, he's retired
he
since
wasn't
then,
dentist.
right? For those who don't know, Lomborg retired and became a dentist
Became a
after his
dentist,
baseball
yes.
career. Yeah.
He was drilling people a lot before
Yes,
that.
he was.
though.
Oh, yes, he was.
He drilled a lot of
He
people.
sure was.
So that was in 2006. The second time we went, we got into the inner sanctum where the players would hang out. It's like the green room before they go out to the show. And we were sitting around, and they were going to introduce a batch of upcoming rookies. And one pitcher had pitched a little bit for the Sox at the very end of the 2006 season, and I recognized him. So I asked Deb to go over and stand next to him. Clay
Buckholz. There he
Clay
is.
Buckholz.
Yes.
Look at the way he's dressed, and look at the way Debbie's dressed with her little glass of wine. Don't they look like they were at a prom? She always refers to this picture as my prom date. Clay Buckholz. This was the year he pitched. He was about to go on to pitch a no-hitter.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right. He was just that's rookie season.
But
Yeah.
I knew who he was, and so she got to hobnob with Clay as her prom date. And he didn't bring him a corsage.
No, but just his presence was.
But he was dressed to the nines. He looked great. And then we ran into a fellow that we had met once before, and therein lies a great story. Sitting at a table, and we recognized him, was Bob Wood. And Bob Wood is Joe Wood's youngest son.
Oh, wow.
The famous Joe Wood.
Smokey Joe.
Who had the best season of any Red Sox pitcher ever in 1912 when he was 34-5 and won 2 games in the World Series. The series that the Red Sox beat the Giants on a miracle finish.
Yes,
He
right.
beat Christy Mathewson.
Yeah.
And Joe Wood, as the youngest boy, used to go around with his dad when his dad was in his 90s and sell paraphernalia from the early days.
Really?
And we had met him in 1980, and he signed a picture for Debbie. Imagine that now. It was 1980, and he was a star in 2012.
In 1912.
19, what did I
Yeah,
say?
not 2012. Yeah, 1912.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
And he signed a picture for it to Debbie 70 years, 80
That's
years
amazing.
after he'd been
That's
pitching.
incredible.
And it's a treasure that we have.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
And he lived to be 95. And I saw Joe Wood two or three times later. His oldest brother, Joe Wood Jr., who didn't have any back, did make the major leagues for a brief time himself.
Did he really? Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. And Joe Wood lived to be 95, and his dad told me every day he woke up, he said, "I don't know why I'm still living."
Wow. Really?
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
But he was one of the greats all time
He really was.
of Red Sox fame. He never was placed in the Hall of Fame, which is a shame, because even though his pitching was cut short by an injury in 1913, he went on to be an outfielder for Cleveland.
Yes, he did.
And was
Yes,
a very good
he
outfielder
was-
for 7 years.
He was an Otani.
That's right. That's right.
He was
That's
an
right, he
Otani back in the day.
It was a shame though, because he had 2 or 3 tremendous seasons. Walter Johnson said no one throws faster.
I was
than Joe
just
Wood.
going to say, supposedly his fastball was the
And
fastest
he
in
wasn't
baseball.
much bigger than Pedro.
Right.
He was not a big man. Walter Johnson was a big,
Was a huge-
strapping-
yeah, right,
big
yeah.
strapping sidearm thrower.
Right.
And Joe Wood was not that big, but he could throw like hell.
All mechanics.
All mechanics. And he and Tris Speaker were roommates.
That's right,
And
yes.
Speaker went to the Indians, and then he went to the Indians. And they played together for quite a while.
Yeah.
And Speaker, of course, is in the Hall of Fame, but I don't know why Joe Wood is.
I don't know. It's maybe just because of recency bias, perhaps. I don't know. I think I think part of it is a lot of those old pitching records just don't translate to today. I think that's a lot. And it was a short career. I think that's what
Well,
hurt him.
he
It was a
played
short
12,
pitching career.
13 years.
Yeah, but it's a short
total.
pitching career.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
There also is a story that in 1928, the last game of the season, Tris Speaker, Ty Cobb, and Joe Wood fixed the game.
I heard of, yes. Supposedly
And
they did.
They
yes.
weren't banned from baseball, but Speaker was not allowed to manage anymore.
Right.
And Cobb neither.
Right.
So that it was a scandal that it mattered nothing. It was a
meaningless game.
Meaningless
Yeah,
game.
right.
But apparently the word got out that they could possibly have been involved.
Right. I did.
And
yep.
when that happens, squeaky clean.
Your name is mud at that point.
We've been through that. It's
sure
a
have.
shrine, not a museum.
Exactly. Yes.
Here
Yep,
we go
yep,
again.
Right. So, well, that's great pictures.
Yep.
Those are outstanding.
It was just the writers' dinner is great, and anybody can go. By the way,
That's
it costs. I don't know what it is, but it's money that goes to benefit the writers who need a
course
lot
it
of
does.
benefits.
Right. Right. so
Okay, well,
so moving on.
Jason had a chance to go to Yankee
Yes,
Stadium
so
this
a
week.
couple weeks ago, we took a family trip to New York City. And of course, included on this trip was a tour of Yankee Stadium. Now, I don't know how many of you have been on tours to other ballparks before. They range from very extensive to you get some 18-year-old who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and everything in between. Yankee Stadium is great except for the logo on the outside. Other than that, it's wonderful. It's across the street from the old Yankee Stadium. It's right. There's a little plaque across there. And what they did, similar to the old Yankee Stadium, is they just built it right into the neighborhood.
Yep.
Like you go across this, the train cuts right next to the stadium, and there's little delicatessens and businesses across the street from it. It's not like this. It's surrounded by parking lots. It's built into the Bronx neighborhood. It's an easy train ride. I would encourage anyone who did it. We got a whole bunch of great pictures. Contact us if you want to see them. But I thought what the most interesting part was. There we are. Son and Junior basking in the 90-degree heat of Yankee Stadium right there.
Right above the monuments.
Right. Yes, that's right above Monument Park. Right. That's right out in center field, which is fantastic. Every big, they're Yankees, but it's cool to see the names out there. And it's every Yankee going back. They go back further than DiMaggio, and all the way up to Paul O'Neill, who just went in last year, I think. And my most fun part of it was they have a display of Don Larson pitching a perfect game to Yogi, and the display is 60 feet 6 inches, just like a pitcher's mound. And in between the two of them, it is hundreds of Major League Baseball signed by former Yankees. And I'm talking everyone from Babe Ruth to somebody who played 2 games. And you go through the balls and he was with the Yankees? Jesus. Like, I saw one from Jamie Quirk, and I said, he was, 1987, he was with them for 13 games. I said, I don't remember Jamie Quirk. And of course, we had to get a picture of Ken Phelps, because you traded him for Jay Buhner. How do you trade Ken Phelps for Jay Buhner? Now, we found Ellsbury, we found Clemens. We actually, we found Refsnyder. Forgot Refsnyder was with the Yankees as a current player. He was there. So, not just Yankee Stadium, anytime you have a chance to take a tour, even if you don't go to the game, which we didn't, it's completely worth it just to get a perspective. So many, even though Yankee Stadium is fairly recent, there's still a lot of history with the team, and they brought a lot of that history over to that park. So totally encourage anyone to do it.
I would just say the best time to go to Yankee Stadium and see Yankee Stadium is when the Yankees aren't there.
Yes, it's very. Yes,
I love it. Just see the stadium, and you don't have to watch them and their fans.
Right. Well, we did. There was no
fans.
It was just the tour group,
and you can wear Red Sox clothes there, and people aren't going to try to kill you.
And the tour guides we had were pretty good, but we still knew more than they did. we were correcting them on a few things. So anyway, that was my vacation of a couple weeks ago, baseball related, and it was our son's first foreign park. He's 10 years old. It was the first time he'd been somewhere other than Fenway. So we're hoping to carry on the tradition now that he's old enough to bring him to different parks every once in a while.
That's great.
So,
well, my father was there. His father was there. That's 5 generations
right.
now.
Crazy, isn't it? That's awesome.
Okay. There was one game that the Red Sox did extraordinarily well in this week.
One game. That was it. Only one game.
It was the game they played against Houston and won 17-1. But something happened in that game we need to discuss.
Right.
That is the use of a position player to pitch.
Right. So
now, what happened is that there were, I should have written the number down, something like 300 position player pitches last year.
Right.
3 instances of pitches playing.
Right.
Which I think makes a farce of the game. And so what happened was they brought in their catcher Maldonado, who looks about as much like a catcher as the Empire State Building. And he lobbed the ball in, gave up 5 hits, including a home run, hit a batter, walked a batter, gave up 4 runs, and just made a farce out of it.
Yeah, he was throwing 58 miles an hour at a guy, which I can throw that. I mean, like.
Yeah, he tried to throw a changeup off a 58-mile-an-hour fastball.
Right.
And Lugo in a home run off him. So what do you think? They changed the rule.
Right.
You have to be ahead by 10 runs in the ninth or behind by 8 runs in the ninth to do it.
Yes.
Now, I heard that you had to designate certain people to be.
You do, yes.
But I think they should do away with it.
I agree, and well, we're going to do pros and cons for this. I'll take the pros.
Do it quick.
I'll do a pro. I mean, the pro is you save the arms. You save a pitcher from pitching an arm, and you certainly don't want pitchers to get injured. And I understand that, because the pitchers are at a premium right now. In fact, I think they may even juggle the roster rules coming up in the next year or two to allow more pitchers.
Well, it's because the way they're using them.
Right. Everybody pitches 1 inning, and the starters go 3 innings.
Starters pitch practically every day now. They
Right.
have to.
Right. So it saves the arms of your bullpen. And I think the biggest selling point here is the fans love it. I think it brings some levity to a blowout, especially if your team is way ahead or way behind. Fans are, let's watch Maldonado pitch an inning and laugh at
especially
him.
way behind,
right?
Because the whole day stunk.
Right, and then you get to see somebody come in.
You bring somebody in, bring
Maldonado in. And he
Ted
can give
Williams
up
actually pitched 2 innings once.
He did.
And so if he gets anybody out,
it's
or if he strikes somebody
he strikes
out,
him. Hey, all right.
I go, well, we lost, but look, he
struck him out. Yeah. And the other thing is, I don't think the players have an issue with it. The players kind of seem to go along with it, and they laugh and have a good time at their friends out there pitching. But I mean, that's the upside of it. But there are some downsides to it,
and usually the players just lob it in.
Oh, yeah,
It's
they
batting
don't- right,
practice
they don't
time.
care,
But
yeah.
I can remember when Jose Canseco
Oh,
came
that's
into
right,
pitch.
Jose Canseco.
Canseco decided
Yeah.
he was going to strike the Red Sox
Oh, yeah,
out.
he fired it in.
And
oh,
he
yeah.
threw about 50 pitches
Yeah.
and threw his arm
threw
out
his
and went
arm
on the
out.
DL.
He missed for the rest of the year.
He was on the
He
DL.
pulled his arm out from pitching
Trying
against the
to
Sox.
pitch, and he was terrible.
And he fired the ball in. He didn't just lob it in. He was throwing as hard as he could.
He hit two guys, and it was close to charging the mound
remember
on
that.
a position player. Imagine that.
Right. I do remember that was bad. Yeah. So those are my pros, but the cons are, like we said, it does kind of make a farce of the game. And a con would probably be, you know what, that's poor managing at that point.
That's right.
I mean, if you can't handle managing a bullpen enough that you have a guy who can't soak up an inning somewhere, that's kind of a problem. I mean,
Well, they could do like the other day, put Bear Claw in for 5 innings, and let him
just let him get
pounded. For,
Well, or the Astros brought in a guy in that 17-1 game with 112 pitches in relief. It was the longest in like 5 years that a reliever.
so
had
why not
pitched.
give him 130?
Yeah, why not? Let's blow him out. Why
At least he was
not?
a pitcher.
Blow him out. Why not?
Well, we'll be right back after an ad from your friend. Who do you think is going to be on this?
Oh,
ad?
we'll find out.
We'll
Take a
find
look,
out.
folks.
Take a look, folks.
Hey, Red Sox Nation. Sully from Revere here. I'm back, and I got a new business proposal for you. Now, you all know I might have got indicted. Hey, the cop never saw nothing. I got let go, so I'm back, and I'm here with a legit business plan for you. You know how you see all those Diamond Kings betting crap all during the Red Sox game? Forget all that stuff. Sully Squares, okay? I'm a trusting guy, right? You give me your money, I put it on a bet for you, and I can do it at the last second too. Say it's the 3rd inning, and Sale's getting pounded, and you say, I want the Sox to lose 7-0, bingo. You call me up and say, Sully, 7-0 Astros, I will put it right on the spot for you. I take Venmo, I take cash, I take check, whatever you got, I'll take it. See, I even got my handy little booklet here, and oh, that's my dunks order. Never mind. That's my dunks order. Here we go. Here's my booklet right here. I put you right in Sully's Squares. I get your last second square right here, and you go to sullysquares.com. Like I said, Venmo, money, cash, whatever you got, because I'm a trusting guy, and I'm not doing it for profit. I'm not going to go blow the money on tickets for Motley Crue. Like I said, I already paid for those. I'm all good for those. This is strictly for you, the customer, for once. Sully had an epiphany. I'm not here for myself. I'm here for you, the fan. So next time you want it, don't get those DraftKings. Those are money. That's money for them. You want money for yourself? Come see Sully Squares. I'll hook you up, okay? All right, go Sox. All right, thank you, Sully. Thanks, Sully, for the feedback. So, yeah, we're running up against the clock a little bit, but...
Three more cool moments.
Yes, three cool moments of
happened.
trivia, and we will have episode 75.
We talked about the first one, Reyes'
Right.
Grand Slam.
Right.
And so the second one would be sweeping the Yankees.
Ah, anytime that is good. The rest of your season can be terrible, but if you sweep the Yankees, that's all right.
We've played them 9 times and won 8.
And the funny thing is, when we were there in New York, the Yankees fans had sort of resigned themselves that they were going to be terrible this year. The Yankee fans were just sort of very, well, it's the first time in 30 years they're going to be last. I suppose we can't complain. And they were not their usual obnoxious
And it's been
selves.
weird that some of their stars, they just released Donaldson, who was
Bader, yeah.
and Bader, and who's the leadoff guy? LeMahieu.
Oh, LeMahieu, yeah.
LeMahieu's
LeMahieu,
having a
yeah.
terrible season.
Right.
And he's a batting champ, and Donaldson was a batting champ, MVP, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah,
and
he was.
Judge is hitting 266 and was out 2 months. The radar guy they got for the starting pitcher, Rodon.
Oh, Rodon, yeah,
Right,
Rodon,
radar,
yeah.
has been out all year.
Well, I looked it up. Over the last 2 weeks, they're hitting 189 as a team.
the second
over
to
the
last
yeah.
in the majors.
Right, yeah, they were 189.
Red Sox
yeah.
are second to the top,
Right,
they're second to
center to
last.
the bottom,
Nobody
so.
can hit it.
And so we're not complaining.
And they got 3 more games against them.
Yes, they do. That's right.
And then there was the return of Mookie.
The return of Mookie, yes, who all 3 games got an enormous standing ovation
Right.
from the crowd,
right.
rightfully so.
And he proceeded to kill us.
Yes, he's 7 for
He's-
15 in the
he's-
series.
If it weren't for Freeman, he'd probably be MVP.
Probably, right.
And he had an interesting talk. He said, I love my time in Boston. I loved it here, and I'm a different person. I have a different life now. And I not regret leaving Boston,
Right.
but I don't regret having been here.
Right.
And it was,
Yep.
you know.
And because we say almost every episode, folks, it's a
our
business. It's a business.
Yep.
You know, we never begrudge a player taking the money, and that's what he did. So good for him. And he's a generational player. It's great to watch
right.
him. And, you know, I hope everybody just appreciates the time that he was in Boston rather than having
right.
a negative,
right.
negative thought about him. So.
And they probably couldn't have kept him even if they tried.
Well, if they had him, they wouldn't have Devers now. Is
right.
what it comes down to.
Maybe that would be.
Maybe that would be a good thing, but we don't know.
We'll leave that. Nothing negative.
Right. But people forget also that there were CBA negotiations at the time, and there was luxury tax stuff at the time, and it just didn't work out. So be it. So be it. It's a business.
It was good to see him though.
Yes, it was.
And he hadn't been back since he left.
Right. That was his first time.
And now you can see him every other year because with the new schedule,
Yes,
half
which
the
we
teams,
love.
half the National League comes one year and the other half next year.
Which
so
we love. We said that
we get to
before.
see.
I think,
And the place was banged out.
oh, it was.
And
It
the
was.
games actually turned out to be pretty good.
They
games.
did. Yeah, they did.
Tough
The
games.
Sox lost 2 or 3, but they were good competitive
We
games.
beat them once and two Dodgers got thrown out of the game.
Right. Yeah,
That was
that's
good.
right. All right.
I mean, the calls were brutal.
They
but
were
so
bad,
what?
but so what? Who cares? Who cares?
Okay.
So-
just to end the show now, we should usually do this earlier.
Yep.
We got the trivia question, which was, with Louis Arise falling from the 400 heights down to 350, there's no way he's going to climb
No,
back
he's
up
not.
to 400.
No.
So the question was, what player since Ted Williams' time, there were many
Mm-hmm.
before, since Ted Williams' time has come closest to hitting 400 for a full season?
Well, there were 2 guys that did it in the 390s. Tony Gwynn did it, and George Brett did it. And so Tony Gwynn would be my answer for the closest.
I gotcha.
Is it Brett for the? Gwynn did 394 in the shortened 94 season, correct?
Yes.
And
so
Brett
it wasn't
hit-
a full season.
So Brett hit 390 for
And
the
he was
Royals.
out 44 games that year.
Was he really?
He was hurt for 44 games.
Oh.
Who was next?
After that? Ooh, who hit in the 380s?
388, 1957.
Oh, 57, he hit 388. Ted Williams.
Ted
Williams.
Williams.
Yes, Ted Williams. Yes.
Ted
There he is. There's
has
Teddy.
the second
Yes.
highest average
Yeah, there we
for
go.
a
Yeah.
full season
That's right.
of any player
That's right,
that played a full
Because
season.
Gwynn's was in 94. That was one of the big strike things. And I didn't know Brett missed that many games in 19. Was it 80 he did it?
1980.
1980. Yeah.
He
hit 390 that year.
hit 390. He missed 44 games with an injury.
Yeah.
So he only played 117 games, and Wynn only played 110.
Right.
Williams played 132.
132.
So it was a full season.
full season.
Ted
Teddy Ball
Williams
game.
was number 2.
That's awesome.
Isn't that great?
And he was
39.
39 that year.
39.
Yeah. Yep.
39.
Amazing. So, all right. So we will end on that note with the greatest Red Sox in history, Teddy Ball game, and we thank you all across the country for watching. 75 folks. I can't believe it. 75.
75.
Come and gone.
And-
And we're going to do the 76, what's that, the bicentennial show next time. And
So
we have
we
bobbleheads
have our own
here.
bobbleheads.
There we go. All right.
Hi, Jason.
Hello, how are you? All right. Let's do this again next month. All right.
Take care, folks.
All right. Thanks
And
for watching,
we'll
everyone.
see you at about the end of the season.
Take care. Bye.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's 1, 2, 3, take around and be all in. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the whole team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3, take around and be all